Hi, my name is Ron Johnson, and I want to talk to you today about water. That was a subject before that I didn't think I had to think about, because I thought the water I was drinking before was just fine. So after we get through this presentation today, I'm hoping that you will think a little more about what water you're drinking. Hopefully you're drinking water, by the way. Your body is 70% water. We've known this for some time, and we've read several books that talked about that many health conditions are caused by not drinking enough water, by dehydration. So we've noticed in our lives, as we've been drinking more and more of the right kind of water, we've seen significant improvements in how we feel and in our health. Even though we've been in the water business a couple of years, we were already using a water treatment system. A 3 years ago, a friend of ours told us that we should check out a company called Multipure. They're a 43-year-old company based out of Las Vegas, and invented the what's called the solid carbon block technology, which we'll demonstrate here today is what's different than most filters that are on the market. What I was surprised to hear, because we live in the Salt Lake area and we think our water tastes really good compared to other parts of the country that I've been to, like California, Arizona, Nevada, some places in the Midwest where their water doesn't taste very good because of what's in it. Our water actually tastes pretty good here as far as chlorinated tap water goes. But we were surprised to hear that our water is rated like 20th worst in the country of the top 100 cities in the country. And my friend sent me a water quality report. I know you can't see this, but we can have you look at it later and send you your report for where you live from the Environmental Working Group that indicated that there's 10 chemicals in our water that exceed recommended health guidelines. Arsenic being one of them, trihalomethanes, which is a disinfectant byproduct. Both of these have been shown through scientific studies to cause cancer, along with the other chemicals that are on there as well. So as we started looking into, I'm an ex-engineer, and so I don't believe anybody just because they say that somebody's the best at this and the other. So I did my research into not only Multipure but other companies on the market to find out that indeed they do manufacture the best filter on the market. About the same time as we were told to look at this, suddenly we were seeing all these things on the news, like you've probably been seeing on TV, newspaper, magazine news about what's happening to water, not only in our area, but all over the country. I saw reports in the news where local areas around, a couple areas around here, people had gotten sick because of microorganisms that had gotten in their water between the city water supply in their house for a couple of different reasons. People got sick from that, and many had to go to the hospital. We had seen in the news about, and probably you have too, about the number of pharmaceutical drugs that are now ending up in our water supplies because of so many Americans now are taking drugs. And guess what? Your body only processes about 20% of anything you consume, so most of what you're taking goes through you into the water treatment system, eventually back into the water supply, and now you possibly may be taking somebody else's drugs when you're drinking your water. In fact, the Salt Lake City Water Report that I looked up the other day has a disclaimer about being sure you don't, flush pharmaceuticals down the toilet and that sort of thing, because they state right in their report that they can't address that they don't have a way to remove those things from the water supply. There's been a couple areas around here that was in the news where they had dry cleaning chemicals that had gotten into the water. We've had recent oil spills that have contaminated the water. There was a thing happened in the news last week in our area where a semi-truck full of turkeys crashed into the local reservoir that feeds the water to many of the areas around here. So maybe we've been drinking turkey soup and don't know that either. So what I want to show you today with a visual demonstration, because I'm a believer that seeing is believing, and we're going to show you a couple things that you can see on our presentation today that might get you to thinking about how well you might be protected even if you're using a water filter in your home. And so what I've done here is I've got a filter from a Multipure a drinking water system. This is one of them. This is our entry-level system. And I've got a filter inside of there that I've been siphoning this yucky water into a container below. Now normally your water filter system would be hooked up to your tap, and with the constant pressure water, the water would be coming out from the filter as fast as it's going in. But for this demonstration purpose, we're just siphoning it. It takes a little while to do that, but we'll show you the result here of what's coming out of this yucky water. I've already placed some food dye. We've thrown some dirt in here. Here I'll throw some more just so you believe me. Some grass and dirt and things. I went down to the local lake where close to where we live, and I got some lake water here. You may not see how disgusting this water is, all the floaties on there. Who knows what little bugs are swimming around in here. We're going to add some of that to the water. And let me stir all this up and see what's going to happen as we filter this water and through some other filters here. We'll show you here in a second. So if I was to ask you to drink a glass of this water, you probably wouldn't be too thrilled about doing that. You probably would refuse. Oh, let's add a glass of water from my toilet. Looks, you know, this water looks totally clear just to look at it. Doesn't smell bad. I don't really want to drink it. I don't think you do either. We'll add that to the mix as well. So we're gonna, now we were already using a filter from another company for the last many years. This is a cutaway section to show that it's made of what's called granular activated carbon, like most filters on the market are. It's supposed to filter organisms down, you know, particles down to about 5 microns, which seems really, really good. This is probably better than most filters on the market. But we'll talk in a second about why maybe that's why we decided that wasn't doing the job that we thought it was doing. We're going to compare this filter against two of the most popular filters on the market. A pitcher filter made by Brita. You may have one of those. And one made by a company called Pure. These filters are certified to take out, to reduce chlorine and a couple other things. But if you look at their certifications, that's really about all they're designed to do. So I'm going to take some water from this yuck tank. And pour into the filter. We'll let that filter through their little filter there. You see that it takes a minute to do that. I'm going to do the same thing with the Pure filter. We'll filter some water through that. And again, we're not picking on Brita and Pure. We're just showing them as an example of how most filters are built and what they can or cannot do. So if you, like say, if you have something like this or another filter, you might want to think by the time we're through here if it's doing the job that you think it is doing. Now I'm going to put a piece of white paper behind each one. And hopefully you can see the color contrast. You'll notice the color coming out of the Brita filter is really the same color as it was going in. And the Pure filter is a little better, but not really a lot better. I'm going to pour some into this cup here. Maybe you can see it a little better in the cup. And the same thing with the Brita filter. Now let me get some filter or some water from the Multipure filter from our yuck tank in this little pitcher here. And I hope you can see that it's totally clear. By the way, this filter we've used for this demonstration many, many times. Let me put a paper behind it so you can see that it is totally clear. So why was the Multipure able to do the job that these other filters do, or cannot do? Well, most filters like these on the market are made by with what's called granulated activated carbon. I'm going to, if you can see it here, it's a loose carbon. Now I just stuck my pen in there. Now what happened? What was the point of doing that? When I stuck my pen in there, what happened? The carbon just got out of the way. So when these filters are under the water pressure of being hooked up to a faucet, like a lot of filters are, or gravity fed like this, unfortunately, the carbon just tends to get out of the way of the water because it can. So why Multipure is so effective is they invented what's called solid carbon block technology. Now this is a cutaway of a filter like I have in this unit. So this filter inside of this unit or the other units that we sell, the water comes in the unit and it has to first go through this outer membrane, this outer layer, which will trap the big particulates and that sort of thing. And then it has to go through, it has no choice but to go through this solid carbon block. And as you can see, you know, it's solid, it's not going anywhere. This filter is designed to filter particulates and organisms down to 0.5 microns. The filter that I was using before, like I said, was designed to filter down to 5 microns, which is better than I think these filters can do, which I thought was really good. But here's kind of the point. So if the particle that you're trying to filter is, say, this size, and the whole size of the filter that you're using is this size, well, obviously that particle can go through the hole, through that pore. However, if your particle, let's say, is this size, and your filter pore size is this size, say 0.5 micron, then the particle cannot possibly go through. So it's pretty simple science. Now when you're looking for a filter, one of the things I looked at, because I kept saying, well, what's another reason why Multipure is better? And they kept saying, well, it's because it's NSF certified to remove the most contaminants of any filter on the market. And I says, well, what does that mean? What's NSF? NSF is the international third-party standard testing facility for the food and the water industry. So whereas these filters, such as these, are certified to reduce chlorine, maybe a couple other things, that's it. There's about 3-4 pages of stuff, which I know you can't see, but you can get it on the website, of what this filter is certified to reduce. Arsenic, by the way, arsenic 5 is one of the toughest things to reduce on the market, and Multipure is the only company certified to reduce arsenic 5 of any on the market. So I hope this gives you some incentive to look at what you're doing or what you're not doing. You know, whether or not the city is doing what it should or should not be doing with the water that's coming to your house, they only have so much funding available to do that. There's, you know, the EPA approves 1,000 to 2,000 new chemicals each year. They possibly can't keep up with all of that stuff. So we probably don't have much impact on what they are or not doing, but we can control what's coming out of the faucet in our house if we have a Multipure filter connected to our tap. By the way, we have units that you can install under the counter as well. So a unit like this or the other ones we market, we have found to be the best choice. And by the way, the most cost-effective of any filters that are on the market. These types of filters, even though they're not that expensive to buy, still, if you replace the filters as often as you should, you're looking at about 30 cents If you're buying bottled water, you're spending about $2 a gallon. Other filters on the market can cost you more than that per gallon. A Multipure system can cost you as little as 9 cents per gallon for the water that you're drinking. By the way, you should be cooking with it as well, and so forth. So you've seen the difference. Now taste the difference with Multipure.